Hi everyone, welcome back. We're trying some new products today. I have some new launches that I want to try with you. So I have the new Tower 28 foundation, I have the new Marc Jacobs concealer, and then I did place an order at Chanel for the new eyeshadow palette. So I'm sure you've seen this everywhere. It's the new 587, the new Smoky palette. So pretty, I couldn't resist it. So I ordered that and a few other things from Chanel as well. So we're gonna do our makeup together and try some new products today. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on my channel. I would love for you to subscribe, but let's go ahead and get started with the makeup. Let's start with the new Tower 28 foundation. This is the Swipe Serum Foundation. Been seeing so many things about this online. They teased this, I feel like, for quite a while before it actually came out. And I will say I had a little bit of trouble with the shade range on this. I got the shade number 4, but it seems like there aren't any neutral tones. Like there's 0.5, looks like a cool tone. There is a 1 in, which is fair neutral. That looked too light for me. But then there's a fair olive that also looked too light for me. Fair peach also looked too light for me. Another cool tone. And then there was a light peach. And then there was a 3 warm. And then this one, which is 4 cool. So I don't know. I wonder why there's not like a light neutral. I feel like that's typically a tone that we see in most foundations. So it looks like this is supposed to be safe for acne prone skin, which I believe Tower 28 products are supposed to be acne safe just in general. Medium coverage, looks like it is $36. You do get 1 standard fluid ounce in here, and it comes in 36 shades, which is pretty good. I do love the Tower 28 concealer. That's one of my favorites. It has been for a few years. So I was excited to see them release a foundation. Since they do have the tinted moisturizer, I also have that and I like that as well. But this is their first foundation. Love the bottle. It looks just like the concealer. Nice frosted glass packaging. And then you have the little swirl like you have. Yeah, I think that's in like the Tower 28 logo. So let's shake this up. I've already prepped my skin with my sunscreen. I used the Haru sunscreen today. And I hope this shade is okay. I went with shade 4 because it recommended online if you use shade DTLA in the concealer. This is the shade that it recommended. So we'll see. I do think it looked really cool toned on the model online. And I would say I'm neutral, like a true neutral tone, maybe like slightly cool tone leaning, but I'm not a true cool tone. So hopefully this works. So this is it. It is very thin, very liquidy, definitely like a true serum. So I'm gonna just dot this on like I normally do. Honestly, this type of formula, I could probably like build it up in the brush and then apply it, but I'm just gonna apply this the way I typically do. I do think typically with serum formulas like this that are really runny, typically they do apply best with a brush, and a brush that has a little bit of density to it. This brush is pretty dense from BK Beauty, but typically formulas like this, I do find you kind of have to have something that can really press them into the skin. Otherwise, if you have something that's too fluffy, it can just kind of move it around the face. It doesn't actually blend into the skin, if that makes sense. So I thought this would be a good brush. So it's blending in really easily and actually looks like a pretty good shade match. I wasn't sure. I didn't see this in person, so I just ordered it online, but I wasn't sure if it would be too pink, but I do love the DTLA concealer from Tower 28, so that's why I ended up going with this one. It is looking pretty glowy so far, which typically serum-based products are more on the dewy, hydrating side, so I'm not shocked to see that. All right, so there, I believe that was about 1 pump of product, so a little bit of this does spread quite a bit because it is so thin, but this is what it's looking like. Actually, the shade looks pretty good to me. It might be like a hair more cool toned than I would like, but not bad. I can definitely make it work. Definitely pretty close shade match. So if you use me as a shade match, this one is pretty good. It is definitely very luminous though. Like I'm sure it will come off on camera, but like I said, that's pretty typical of most serum based products like this. I would say light or medium coverage. I would say more of like a light medium coverage right now. I might be able to build this up. I don't think I'm going to, because typically formulas like this that are really hydrating and more of a serum base, typically they don't build up super well. They're not really intended to do that. So I'm probably not going to add any more, but it looks nice on the skin, but it is very glowy. There's no shimmer or anything in it. I mean, yeah, it looks like a pretty glowy, hydrating, light medium coverage foundation to me. I do think I could see where it might be a little bit pore emphasizing if you have really enlarged pores or you have a lot of them. Cause like, I feel like my skin definitely, or my pores, I should say, definitely look a little bit more pronounced in this area. And obviously everybody has pores, but I don't really struggle with enlarged pores or anything like that. It's not something that is like a major concern for me, but if you do and that is something you struggle with, I don't know how this would do on that type of skin texture. But it is supposed to be acne safe, like I said, so that's positive. It's pretty, but sometimes formulas like this, the wear can be a little bit iffy. My skin type, if you're not familiar with my content, is normal. I would say in like the hot weather that we're having right now, I do have a little bit of an oily T-zone in really, really hot weather. But I would say overall my skin is pretty balanced. I'm not really dry or oily typically, but we'll see. We'll see what we think by the end of the video. I'm going to try to wear this makeup as long as I can today and give you some wear notes like I typically do in the description box. But yeah, so far it's pretty. Okay, we do have the new Marc Jacobs concealer that I cannot wait to try, but I am going to apply a little bit of color corrector because y'all know I don't skip corrector ever. I'm using the new one from Too Faced. I've been just using this same little eyeshadow brush to apply this. And I mean, I'm using so little product. You may not even be able to see it on camera. I don't know, but this stuff works so well and covers and corrects really well under the eyes if you use a small amount. If you go overboard, you're probably not gonna like this because I'm barely even touching under my eye and you can see it's like fully correcting the tone there. These are great. Let's get into concealer. So this is brand new from Marc Jacobs. This is the Nude Awakening 24-hour wear all over concealer. So Marc Jacobs Beauty, I'm sure you've seen all over social media, relaunched after years of being gone about a month or two ago. I did not buy any of the new products. I considered it, but I don't know. Nothing really spoke to me enough that I wanted to try it, but I love a new concealer. So I was so excited to order this. This is so cute. Okay, first of all, I'm shocked by how big this is. Do you see how large this concealer is? I thought it was gonna be like a regular size concealer. No, it's like the size of the original Too Faced Born This Way concealer. It's large. Let's see how much product is in here. So you get 0.50 ounces in here, which is quite a bit of concealer. And it looks like it comes in 40 shades, which is great. I went with shade 135, and again, I just kind of guessed. I really wasn't sure. Let's see what this says. It says it is a medium coverage concealer that's hydrating with a natural finish, which we love, with niacinamide, there's that niacinamide again, and hyaluronic acid, a multi-use lightweight liquid concealer that conceals, blends, and contours, delivering medium coverage and natural finish, and up to 24 hours of wear. The component actually really reminds me of the Too Faced one. The applicator doesn't, but the component itself does. Okay, so it's like a little slanted paintbrush, which is interesting. Not like the standard doe foot. Ooh, okay, I think this might be a good shade. I do feel like this is gonna get messy. It looks like it doesn't have a great stopper in it because a lot of the product has already collected there, and this is brand new. So I don't know about that. But this is shade 135 in, and you know what? It actually does look neutral, which is exciting. It feels pretty thin to me. Yeah, very thin. Looks like pretty decent coverage. And I'm wondering if maybe this is a larger component with more product because it's intended to use all over maybe. I don't know, but maybe that's why. Okay, so we'll use this on my face too to add some more coverage, and then we'll do it under the eyes as well. So I'm gonna take some here, some here, some here. You know what? The texture of this kind of reminds me of the Tower 28 concealer. It's very thin. Also feels kind of cooling going on, which is interesting. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit here. I'm gonna save, actually, I think the under eyes for after bronzer and blush. I've just kind of been playing around with that application order lately, and I've really been liking it. So I'm gonna let this kind of sit for a second, and then we'll blend. I'm gonna blend with my little concealer brush. Okay, so I think maybe the color is actually good. I don't know, it might be like a hair bit light now that I see it. I think there was like one up from this one that I think was also a neutral tone. This was 135 neutral, but I think there was also a 145 neutral, and I kind of had trouble deciding between them. It does look like it has pretty decent coverage to me. I've been liking blending out concealer on my face with a smaller, more dense concealer brush like this instead of like the foundation brush that I used. I don't know, I've been finding that using a smaller brush helps you kind of keep the coverage where you're placing it. I'm not sure why, but it does seem like that kind of makes a difference. So I've been doing that lately. Okay, I'm actually not loving the shade of this. I think it is too light. In person, I'm not sure if it will show this way on the camera, but in person, it looks a little bit gray. Typically, if something looks gray, a lot of times it's because it's too light for your skin tone. It could also be the undertone, but typically things turn gray if they're too light, just in my experience. Yeah, definitely looks a little bit like pasty where I just applied it right here. Dang it, so maybe I should have gotten 145 in. Oh well. I do think the coverage is pretty good. It looks nice over that Tower 28 foundation. Yeah, it looks nice. It's just the color I think is a little bit light for my face. It might be fine under my eyes. We'll see with that color corrector that we used. But it looks good. It's sitting nicely. Good coverage, very thin, very lightweight. Dang it, I guess I should have gotten one shade up. Oh, I hate when I get the shade wrong on products. I really do. I really do. But maybe we'll exchange it. We'll go ahead and use it today, but I do think it's a little bit too light. Okay, I don't have a new cream bronzer, so I'm gonna use these Westman bronzing drops. These are pretty new to me. This is not a new launch, but I haven't had these for very long. So I'm gonna use them again today in shade number 1. I do really like these drops though. I did get these in PR from Westman a few weeks ago, and they are really, really pretty. And I feel like I need some color for sure because that Marc Jacobs concealer really, I don't know, it looks kind of like ghostly on my cheeks where I put it. All right, let's get into what I bought from Chanel. So I did buy a new blush. I bought the cream to powder blush formula. I've tried the powder blushes, but I haven't tried this one. It's been on my list for a while, and typically when I place a Chanel order, I rarely ever just place an order for one item. I usually add some other things because I'm like, well, I'm already on the website, you know, might as well try a few new things. So I picked this out. I did already swatch this because I just couldn't help myself, but This formula is really beautiful that you can tell where I swatched it. I've been loving, as I've talked about, cream to powder formulas lately. I don't know what it is, but this color I thought was the perfect pink. How pretty is that shade? It looks like the perfect, pretty neutral toned pink. All right, I think I'm gonna take that same brush I just used, which this is a 116 from BK Beauty, which is basically just the smaller version of the 106, which I've been using for years and years. I don't know what it is, I've just been loving this type of blush formula lately. I will say the powder blush from Chanel that I bought a while back, I wasn't in love with it. I thought it was okay. It might have just been the shade that I bought. I think it was something bronze. I forget the name, rose bronze or something like that. I didn't love the color, so that could have been part of it. But oh, I love this color. Very soft, buildable, which is obviously very Chanel. Love it though. Okay, let's go back to the concealer and let's use this under the eyes. I think I'm gonna think it's too light under the eyes, but oh well, we'll try it anyways. I'm just gonna use that same brush we used earlier from BK Beauty to blend that in. I love the texture of this Marc Jacobs concealer for sure. It is so thin, really, really spreads, seems pretty hydrating. And yeah, so I might actually exchange this for one shade up. I don't know, I might be okay with it under the eyes. I'll just have to kind of play around with it, but yeah, very thin, very lightweight, not a ton of coverage. I am someone that typically likes a fuller coverage concealer personally. It's definitely not full coverage, yeah. Looking at it up close, it's lighter than I would like, so I will probably exchange this. So if you use me as a shade reference, this one's a little bit too light. This is such a struggle with makeup, you know, like I hate having to exchange, return. I really try not to do that much, but when you can't see the stuff in person, it's just hard. And then sometimes the shades online, like the swatches and seeing it on models, it's not that accurate. It's not super helpful, so it's tough. Okay, I actually love the way this concealer is kind of setting. It actually looks like it does set a little bit. It's not like matte looking. It almost kind of looks like I have used some powder, to be honest. So I like that. It's very thin and serum-y, but it does seem to set, which we don't see a lot with serum concealers. So I love the finish, not so much the shade. You know what I was looking at though? Look at these shades. Please, if you're on the Sephora app or Sephora.com, look at the shade. This must have been AI generated, or it was like generated by a computer. Look at the shades. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but these light shades, look how dark they look on this light skin tone here. Like 135 looks pretty dark, but it's not at all in person. So the swatches are definitely very misleading because the reason I didn't pick 145 is because it looks incredibly dark. It's the one on the very bottom right there, but 135 is light. So I don't know about these. This is very misleading. They need to fix that because how the heck are you supposed to pick a shade? Okay, yeah, we're probably gonna have to exchange this, unfortunately, but I do like the way it looks under my eyes so far. All right, while I was on Chanel, I also decided to try this. This has been on my list for probably like 2 years. It's been a long time. This is their loose setting powder, which I feel like I hear about all the time as people's holy grail loose powder. I feel like I've been hearing about that for years and years and years. And I've also heard of how much powder you get in here, and they are not kidding. Like, this powder is 30 grams, 1 ounce. It is expensive, but holy moly, look how much powder you get in here. So I did go with shade 10, which is the lightest shade. I think it's white. I almost went with one shade up, which was 12, which I think has a little bit of a pinky undertone. All right, let's test this powder out. Oh, okay. Okay, it's very fragranced. I just got like a big whiff of floral fragrance. Let's use this brush. This is the Real Techniques Kelly Ann powder brush. And let me double check that I don't have a ton of creasing. I am a little bit worried about using this white powder when I used that Marc Jacobs concealer that's already like kind of light. Wow, this powder feels so finely milled. Very fragranced though. I hope it actually is translucent and it doesn't look white on me. So this side has the powder, this side does not. Definitely, wow, okay. Ooh, okay, yeah, that looks very nice. So this side looks set, but still has a little bit of glow. So it does look like, it looks definitely much less glowy than this side, but it doesn't look flat, if you know what I mean. Oh yeah, that's a really, really nice natural looking powder. If you have this powder, let me know. What do you think of it? Because I know, like I was saying, I hear all the time people talk about how this is like it for them in terms of powders and how good of a value it is, which, I mean, I can understand that. You definitely do get quite a bit in this component. It does come with a puff also, I forgot to mention. I'm not really a puff person, but it does come with it. Oh yeah. Okay, the powder looks fantastic. It looks undetectable. Like I can see a difference, but the powder doesn't look powdery. Yeah, I don't like the concealer shade is throwing me off quite a bit because y'all know my pet peeve is concealer that's too light. One of my makeup pet peeves, I just hate it. I hate the look of it. It turns everything gray and like ghostly looking, which I hate. But anyway, that's what we have today. The powder looks absolutely stunning though. I mean, wow. My skin looks airbrushed. That's how I would describe this. This literally looks like the little airbrush tool in Photoshop. Okay, before we move on from the face, I do have one of the new shades of the Say blushes. This is the Super Suede Radiant Powder Blush. I have one of these already, but they launched this shade recently and I just couldn't resist it when I swatched it in the store. Like, look at this color. It's like the prettiest rosy mauve-y blush. And I actually love the Say blush formula. I think they're very underrated. The packaging leaves a lot to be desired. It's extremely cheap feeling, sad to say, but the formula itself is very nice. So I kind of want a little bit more blush, I think. So I'm going to use a Refer number 4 brush. And I'm going to add a little bit of this on top. Yeah, do you see how glowy? The Say blushes are very, very nice. I remember, I think the other one that I have is Mia, which is like a warmer pink. And the first time I tried that, I was actually very surprised by how pretty it is. The packaging is just not great. Formula, very nice. Love that. So like I said, I've tried that formula before, just a new shade to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish my brows and then we're gonna get into this palette. Okay, I filled in my brows and let's get into this new palette. So this is the new collection, the Coco Mademoiselle makeup collection, and this is one of the products they launched, which is this new 9-pan eyeshadow palette. This is the 587, the new Smoky. So I haven't been into palettes, but I saw this one and this one just spoke to me in such a big way. Y'all know I am a huge neutral, subtle eyeshadow lover. I like all things like soft and very ethereal. That's why I love the Ethereal Eyes palette from Makeup by Mario. So this really spoke to me. This palette is pretty expensive. It's $132 for 9 shades. It's Chanel, so I wasn't shocked by the price, but it is an expensive palette. So it's very neutral, I would say. I would say like neutral to cool leaning, but it doesn't pull incredibly smoky and gray and dark like you think when you hear the word smoky. So I fell for this one. I ordered this as soon as it was available. Okay, so there are the swatches. So obviously they're very soft, very subtle shadows, which is kind of obviously what Chanel is known for. Very timeless, chic, classic, soft makeup is how I would describe it. So that is right up my alley. I've seen some criticism of the palette saying how the pigment is very soft for the price point. To me, price point, just because something is a higher price doesn't mean it has to be higher pigment. I'm not sure why that seems to be a correlation that people like to make, but I see that comment a lot, is if a product is more expensive, it needs to be more pigmented. I'm not saying that products that are super pigmented are not equally as beautiful as things like this, but I do think sometimes we mistake pigment for the quality. And that's not the case. Sometimes things that are soft, nuanced, very subtle can be just as beautiful as something that's pigmented. So, or very pigmented, I should say. So I don't really understand that argument. To me, I would pay more for something that looks like this than I would for something that is, 3 times as pigmented as this. But it's makeup. It's personal preference. We all like different things, but I do see that comment a lot, and it kind of puzzles me every time I see it, because I'm like, I don't think just because something's more expensive that means it automatically has to have like intense pigment. But that seems to be something people say a lot. Okay, so before we get into this, I am going to take a little bit of my MAC paint pot, just a tiny bit, not a lot, just because I do have a lot of discoloration on my eyelids, and I do like to kind of even that out a little bit, especially when I'm using a palette for the first time, just so my natural discoloration doesn't interfere with any of the shades. So I'm taking just a very, very small amount of Painterly all over my lid. Let's use this palette. I'm so excited. Okay, what should we do first? Maybe this shade right here. So this shade is kind of like a soft, taupey, gray brown is what it looks like to me. So I'm going to use this with the Rephr #1 brush, and I'm going to put this kind of in the outer corner here and up into the crease. I'm to the point now with makeup where when I see palettes, eyeshadow palettes in particular, when I see a shade, sometimes I can pick them out as soon as I see them, the ones that I'm going to gravitate towards, the ones that I'm going to like something like this that's really neutral, very good, like one and done, every day, like what some would say, very boring brown. I just know when I see a shade like that. And when I saw this palette, I immediately thought, oh, I'm going to love that shade, I bet. And yeah, I was correct on that. I mean, what a beautiful taupey brown. I do like that they did kind of more of an everyday palette and called it a smoky palette, because I feel like when you hear smoky anything, you automatically think of very bold, very dramatic, very intense eyeshadow looks, and that's not necessarily the case. You can really get more of a smoky eye with softer shades. It's really about placement and how you blend them. It doesn't have to be an incredibly like deep smoky look to still give the smoky effect, This shade is applying really nicely with this brush also. I have found in the past, I don't have a ton of experience with Chanel eyeshadows, but I have found that my Rephr brushes seem to apply them the best for me personally. My BK Beauty brushes work as well. Something about the Chanel formula I do think works really well with natural bristle brushes like these. I really want to try a little bit of the pink down here, so I'm going to switch to a number 14 from Refer, which is basically just a really tiny fluffy crease brush. And I want to just add a little bit of that pink to this outer corner, kind of where we started that first shade. Honestly, this shade in person, this pink, is much more muted. In some of the pictures and videos I saw online, the pink looked pretty like vibrant. It's really not. It's a very soft, more muted, blushy pink. Honestly, it would probably be pretty on the cheeks as a blush if you have a lighter skin tone. Okay, I'm gonna go into the dark brown, I think, in the center, and I'm taking just a little bit. I barely tapped my brush, but I want to just do a little bit of that shade kind of in the outer half of the upper lash line and kind of fan it out just a little bit. So I kind of placed it with this little fluffy brush. This was a BK Beauty. It's an A504. And then I'm going to go to that number 14 brush, which was the one we used that pink with. And I'm going to kind of feather over it because, like I said, I want it to look very soft and diffused. So this BK Beauty brush is picking up this shade pretty well. I wanted this brush because it's so tiny. And I wanted just a little bit of that shade in the outer part of the upper lash line, not a ton. So I'm just kind of placing it and then going back in with a fluffy brush and kind of diffusing it. Okay, now I'm gonna take a little bit of this top shade right here. This is like a soft beigey sand color. It's a little bit warmer than the first shade that we used, but it's not like warm. It's just a little bit warmer. Oh yeah, see, that's so pretty. I love that. It's like a really neutral shade, actually. It's kind of like a neutral beige, really soft color. Love that. Okay, and then the one I'm the most excited about, I think, is this one down here. So this one is like, it's like one of those wet shimmer shades, or that's how it looks at least. Oh yeah. I mean, how stunning is that? Something I do love about Chanel eyeshadows and other brands too, like Makeup by Mario, Mattes, for example, or just his shades in general, they are so easy to use. You really can't screw them up, really. And I love that. I just love that type of shadow formula because this is the type of look that I love. Okay, now I'm gonna switch to a 210 brush, which is a little pencil brush. And I'm gonna take a little bit of a few of the shades, the pink, that beige, the taupe, and I'm gonna bring those on the lower lash line just for a little bit of something down here, but y'all know me. I don't love a lot on my lower lash line for me personally. Okay, I think I'm just gonna take one more bit of the shimmer shades just for like this very tear duct, inner tear duct area. So I took this like lighter, this is like a light champagne gold color, and I'm just gonna put that right in this inner tear duct. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of eyeliner and do just a little bit of a wing. So I'm kind of just going over that purple brown that we used, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna take a little angled brush and kind of pull it out just a little. This is Urban Decay 24/7 liner in the shade Tootsie, which is a really nice kind of gray brown. I really like it. It's very similar to the Makeup by Mario liner in Taupe that I love. Gonna curl my lashes. Absolutely in love with this eyeshadow look. I had a feeling I was going to be. When I saw this palette online a few weeks ago before it actually launched. I just kind of had a feeling about it. I was like, yeah, Blair, you're gonna love that palette, and I was 1000% correct. Okay, I'm curling my lashes. I don't have a new mascara. They did send me a sample little mini of the Le Volume mascara from Chanel, which I have tried many times before. And I remember liking it years ago, but I feel like the last time they sent me a sample, it really transferred like pretty badly on me. And I don't remember that in the past. Since they sent it, I'll use it, but I do remember the last time I used it, it got all over my lids by the end of the day. Finished my mascara. Now let's finish up with lips. So I did order a few lip products from Chanel, starting with the lip pencil. I've tried this before a few years ago. I had a different shade though, and I wasn't crazy about it, so I ended up decluttering that. But I ordered a new shade, and this is the shade 212. I did swatch this already. I'll swatch it for you. It's a little bit lighter than I was hoping it was going to be. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit deeper, but we'll try it today and see what we think. I thought it looked like a really perfect rosy nude color. So let's go ahead and try this. And I do love the Chanel liners come with the brush on the end, like the Makeup by Mario liners, which are my favorite. So let's try this out. Kind of looks like it matches my lip color, which is good too. Yeah, it does. It actually looks like the same tone as my lips. I like this formula actually. It's very creamy. It's been a while since I've used a Chanel liner. Oh yeah, that's actually a nice color. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so I did order that, but then Chanel did release a new lipstick with this collection. I think it's in the shade Crush. I almost ordered that one, but it looked like it would be too cool toned for me, and I'm not a huge fan of a super cool toned lip on me. I just feel like sometimes my lips are already a little bit cool toned. If I put something really cool toned on top of my lip color already, it kind of looks a little bit purple sometimes, and I don't like that on my lips. So I didn't get that one, but I did get a Rouge Cocoa Longwear Satin Lipstick in the shade Mayfair. And I don't know, it's a little bit peachier than I was thinking it was going to be, so that's Mayfair right there. I don't know that I'll love it with this lip liner, but we're gonna try it anyways. I didn't want to get one that was that cool toned kind of purpley color. I thought this might be a little bit similar to Naughty Talk from Charlotte Tilbury, which I love. It's pretty though. It's definitely warmer than that lip liner, so I don't know that I love them together, but it's a pretty color actually. I feel like I might like this more with more of a brown lip liner. I kind of want to get shade 62. Maybe it's 162, I can't remember, but there's one that's a pretty nude brown looking color that I kind of want to get. So I feel like I might like this a little bit more just with a different liner. And it doesn't really go with the eyes that well, but oh well. We're just trying. And then I did get one of the new glosses in the shade 447. The name starts with a B. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that shade, but it's shade 447. So these were reformulated recently, and this is the new reformulation. Oh yeah, so that is right up my alley. It's like a perfect pink rose gloss with a little bit of shimmer in it. This would probably go better with that liner by itself. Okay, so this is the final makeup. Let's talk about these products quickly. Obviously, these are just first impressions, so I will update you in a future video. I'll probably do another beauty briefs video, which is where I go through a ton of new makeup that I've been trying, and I kind of give speed reviews of all of them. So I'm planning to do one of those soon, but I'll give you my initial thoughts on the products. First, the Tower 28 foundation. I think this looks really, really pretty on the skin. It's been on my skin for a little while now. I've had to kind of film this video in parts because I just have a lot going on in my house. So this has been on my skin for a while at this point. And I will say it has settled into my skin really nicely. It doesn't look nearly as dewy and shiny as it did initially. So that's positive. I'm not like blown away by it. I think I still prefer the Westman foundation over this one just based on my first impression. I love the Westman a little bit more. I like the finish, I think, just a little bit more. If you have oily skin, I just think this is going to be too glowy. A little bit slightly too oily for you. I don't know. I don't have oily skin, so it's hard for me to say, but I feel like this is going to be more for normal to dry skin types. I don't know that I would recommend this for combo or oily. But it does look nice, and I'm gonna wear it as long as I can today. But yeah, I don't know that I love it. I'm looking at it up close in my mirror, and I feel like it looks like it's kind of sitting on the skin a little bit in certain areas, like around the nose here, a little bit like right here where I have a little bit of like a smile line on both sides. I feel like it's kind of collecting there, so I don't know. I like it, but I'm definitely not in love with it at this point. The Marc Jacobs concealer, okay, this I think has real potential, but the shade is a little bit too light, but I think this formula is really nice. I love the way it looks under my eyes, and I really liked the way it looked on my face as well. I'm just not a huge fan of the shade. So if you use me as a shade reference, don't get anything below 135N because I'm assuming it's going to be really, really light because this is already really light. And this is like not one of the fair shades. This is supposed to be one of the light shades. So I don't know. I think I might get 145N instead, and hopefully that will work better. But I think this might be a good one if I get the shade right. I love the packaging. I love that you get quite a bit of product in here. And I like the coverage level. The coverage I would say is solid medium. I don't know that you're going to be able to build this up to like a full coverage, but I love the way it does kind of set down a little bit. It doesn't set to matte finish, but it definitely sets a bit more to more of a satin natural finish on me. The Chanel products. Okay, this new blush, it's not new, but it's new to me. In Rose Ardent. Oh my goodness. I definitely can see myself continuing to use this all the time. I think this is the most gorgeous shade of pink. Put on a little bit more. I mean, I don't really need any more, but I love this like neutral pink. I just feel like it goes with everything, and it kind of just goes well with my skin tone overall. So this, I'm so glad that I bought this. So glad. If you have this blush, what shade do you have? And do you love it? Let me know. Do you think there's another shade I would like? I think that one might be the one I like best, but let me know because I have a feeling a lot of you know or you've used and own that blush. Okay, the palette. Oh my gosh, I love the way this palette looks. I love it. But do I think like everybody's gonna love this? No. This color story is not gonna be for everyone, and obviously, like I was saying earlier, this is very soft, very light. Oh, I just remembered I rubbed the swatches off. But the swatches, they're very soft, very subtle. So if you don't like that, you'll hate this. But for me, this is right up my alley, and I couldn't be happier with this purchase. Only used it once, obviously, but I had no trouble with the shadows. I think this is just such a gorgeous, soft, everyday palette for someone with neutral to cool leaning undertones. I think this is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, I did just check, and it looks like this is out of stock everywhere. I should have gotten this video up a day earlier. I just wasn't able to film and get it up in time for this to not sell out. So hopefully maybe they'll bring it back, but I think this is out of stock now, unfortunately. I hate that Chanel does that where everything is so limited, but I will keep watch, and if I find it in stock, I will post about it that it's in stock again. But yeah, I think this might be sold out, unfortunately. But I gotta say, I'm very happy with this purchase. First eyeshadow palette in a very long time that's gotten me like really excited to use a palette. And the lip combo, actually love it more now that I added that pink gloss on top. I don't love that liner and that lipstick together. I just don't like the peachy and the pinky lip combo together, but I think I just need a different lip liner with that lipstick. If you know a lot about Chanel and you know of a liner that you think I would like that's not as pink with that lipstick, let me know. But this gloss definitely kind of brings it together and made it a little bit rosier, which I like. So yeah, I like all three of these lip products. Don't know that I love them all together, but I like them individually. So I will have to test them out with other things. But yeah, this lip liner in particular, y'all know I love a good lip liner. I forgot how nice and creamy these Chanel liners are. And this is like a My Lips, but better kind of color. Say Blush, if you like the kind of colors I like, these like rosy mauve tones, this new one, so pretty. So pretty. So that's a win for me. But I think that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and there's so much new makeup out right now. I love it, but it's also very overwhelming. There are some other things that I'm really excited about that are coming out in the next few days. So we may have a lot of new makeup videos in the next few weeks because there's just a lot that I'm really interested in right now. So I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to check the description box if you need links. I will link everything for you, and I will link in YouTube shopping as well. If you shop through my links, it does support me. I do make a commission from that, so thank you so much to those of you that do that. And if you're new, I would love for you to subscribe and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you again very soon. Remember, simply be you.